welcome back to Totally Flipped. This is the project car, the Golf Mark 5, and we've had a problem with this, with the engine mount broken down there, and whoever fitted the cam belt has managed to not do up the bolts correctly, and now that's what made it crack and break on me the other day, a day before we were supposed to take this out on track. So now we've got to take the engine down completely, so we'd have to remove all of this side and all of that side to get to the engine mount the other side with the gearbox, and drop the whole car down so we can re-drill our engine mounts in. So today we're going to have to start removing everything. I've had to remove the pipe from there because it was hitting against here, squashing it. The case that goes over the engine or over the cam was broken, ripped to shreds because of it dropping. So I've removed that as well. I've just started the engine to make sure it's all okay, and it starts fine. So we've just got to sort of get everything stripped now to make sure it all goes back together again. So yeah, as you can see, it's all sheared off down there, unfortunately. Luckily, it's not part of the engine as such, so we can just take everything off. If it was part of the engine, then that would have been it. There wouldn't have been no going back, really, but we're going to start stripping everything off, take the battery off, take the fuse box out, take the air box out, then we can get to see what the engine mount is like the other side. Take all these pipes off, but I need to document it because obviously I need to know how to put it all back together again when we need to. So first job, disconnect the battery, remove that, all the casings and the airbox, and then we'll see where we are then. Okay, so we've undone the screws there. That was a 13, that was a 10, they're all in there. We've unscrewed the MAF sensor pipe. Now we've got to take off this battery tray. We've removed the airbox as well. So just got one more 10mm screw there, and then this will lift out, and that's then should give us access to an engine mount of sorts for the gearbox. Then we can start on that side, clearing all that away. May not need to remove this because it is out the way, and this can be tucked away. So yeah, just going to take this battery tray out, and any screws we get, we're going to put them in there, and I will let you know what screws went where, so then it'll be easier for me to put back at the end. We may have to take the drive shafts out and remove the wheels and everything at the front to gain access to drop the engine out. Might have to do the actual main front section of the car, remove all that as well, just so that we can either drop the engine right down, because at the moment there's just no access to get in to drill any new holes for the engine mounts. And we don't know what condition the engine mounts are, because I noticed a chunk out the side. So the next job is to undo this 10mm. I believe it's 10. Let's check. Yep, 10mm socket there. Get that off, and we can gain access to any engine mounts the other side. May have to undo the gearbox mount that goes up there. We'll see what happens there. Then we can see if this engine will drop enough to do any repairs. Okay, so I've removed the battery tray, and they are just the other screws or nuts in there. So this is your engine mount that goes onto the gearbox, or the gearbox mount. So I reckon if we unscrew those two, this may drop, but I will have to do the other side as well. So this is clear enough now to work on. We've now just got to, I believe, start to undo all of this piping. So Might have to drain the tank of fluids, and then get rid of all this piping. I need a new thing, so that's all split, so I need to order a new dipstick holder. So yeah, that's the next job, to start stripping this side. So that means the fuel filter housing, the washer bottle, and the overflow tank for the water heating. So that's our next job now, so to sort that out. Okay, so we've undone this. That was a T30 along with that one that went in there. That was a T30, which are these. So next job is to move this out of the way so we can then take that out. We'll just lean that over here for now. We'll take this water bottle out, and then we can gain access to all this area here to be able to undo these engine mounts and get all this clear. And then we've got to obviously order this part again, which I've already bought one. So that'll be the next job. We've got to remove the belt for the alternator. Might have to actually remove the alternator as well. So that's the next job. Okay, so we've just undone that. It's a T25, and I believe actually that one was a T25 as well. So that's out. So this should be able to move now. Yep. So remove this clip, and then we'll move all that out the way. Might even actually disconnect all this and drain the coolant out. Then we can undo these two here and remove that as well. So that's out the way. And then we can gain access to these engine mounts. Okay, so these two here, the fuel lines that are off of there, they just don't clip. The two that are there, we just pull them up and they come off of there. They're color coded, so just remembering fuel into these two here. And the green one is obviously from the water pump or water pipe there, which is just a pinch clip. So that's all off now. So next job is to undo these engine mounts here, and then we can move this to make sure. We'll have to turn this is using a spanner to turn to loosen the tension of the belt, and then we can remove that belt out, hopefully. And then we can move on to removing all of this bolting here to get this engine mount out the way, and then we can find out where we need to fix. It's only this one that's really the problem, because this keeps breaking on this one here because they couldn't be bothered to fit it properly back once they changed the belt. So next job now is to undo all of these bolts here, and let's clear this old one off here, and then we can see what damage is, what we need to order to replace. Okay, so I've just undone those engine mounts there. That was two 19s. They're there, so they would go back in there. We need to undo this one here, and then that should free it from the engine. I may take this one off actually to remove all of this from there, and then that will keep all that straight. So I think I'm going to undo these ones next. Let's see, that's a 17, so we'll get those two off first. Okay, so I've undone those now. And these are 13. That's obviously the clip that you bolt the thing, and that holds that part of the engine mount. So that'll come off now. So now it's this bit here that's all fucking broken. It's not even attached to the engine, and that's why it kept breaking. So that comes out there. This needs to come out. It's probably all stuck in the engine. I don't think we're going to move that at the moment, but that's why it's not working, they never bolted this back in properly, so that's why that kept snapping. There was just no, it was just holding really the whole engine on that one bolt there. So we got to remove this and then re-drill this one in. I think it's okay. This is all okay here. It's just lost a bit there. It's obviously grinded on something. But we need to undo all of that now. Take this bracket off because this is the one that I need to replace again. So we're going to have to take tension off there. Might have to take the under tray off of the engine as well, so we can get access to dropping the engine completely down. But that'll be our next job. Okay, so use a 17mm spanner to pull this tensioner downwards, and that releases the belt from the alternator. And then the next job is to obviously unbolt this one here, which might be a 13mm socket to undo that one, and then hopefully that will bring that one off, and then we may be able to remove this. And then we got to look at removing this bolt here, which is bolted sideways on to the engine. Okay, so I've just removed the alternator. That was using these here 13mm socket to get those out. There's two of them which are there. I've undone that bolt there, but we've got to take this off now. So we've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, which I think are probably 17mm. I'll just check. These are 17mm to get those off, so we'll take these off now. There should be 4, and plus we'll have to take the water pump off as well of that one. So we'll undo these first, and then we'll undo the water pump. Hopefully we can move that out of the way without, in fact no, that's the air conditioning. That's the air conditioning pump. But we do need to remove that. We need to undo this one as well, which will be a 13. So we'll do that as well. And then that'll come off. Hopefully then we can remove this and then look at jacking the car right up to release the engine. So next job is to undo those bolts here. So yeah, that was a 13mm socket to undo that. Still can't get this out, I don't think. Not quite. Still stuck behind all this. But we need to we'll undo this now, that bolt there, and there'll be one underneath it. And then we can remove that top bracket and order a new one. And we will have to take that under tray out as well. So that'll be the next job, to undo this air conditioning pump off. And then we can remove the under tray. Hopefully then, by undoing those other two mounts there, we can drop the whole engine down enough to manage to drill all that out. So that's the next job. Okay, so I've taken these 16mm screws out of there to hold that bit in. There's going to be one underneath, no doubt, so we're going to have to now remove that bottom tray and lift the car right up so we can get to all the bolts that's holding that under casing. And then we can, I'll put a support under the engine for now until we remove that, and that'll hold the engine up. And then that way, when we go to drop it again, we should be able to get all that, get access. We'll have to remove this wheel as well. We may have to remove the drive shafts as well, but we'll come to that a bit later. So Next job is to get underneath and remove all of those screws holding that plastic casing underneath the engine.